This shrimp hits so hard that the water around it boils from the impact. But how does it manage to wield such power? Today we will dive into the coral world of the mantis shrimp, whose abilities shock scientists and divers. Get ready, we are about to uncover the secrets of the little creature with the most powerful punch on Earth. Meet the legend, the peacock mantis shrimp or Odontogactylus cillaris, which is not just a marine inhabitant but a true star of the underwater world. Its length rarely exceeds 7 inches, and it weighs only a few ounces. But don't be fooled. This little one is a champion in striking power. Among all the animals on the planet, it resides in the warm waters of the Indo-Pacific region. From the coast of Australia to East Africa, you can find it in coral reefs, where it hides in burrows and crevices, lying in wait for prey. Its body shimmers with all the colors of the rainbow, green, blue, red, yellow, like an artist spilled paint on a canvas. That's why it's nicknamed the peacock. But the beauty is just a disguise. The main weapon of the mantis shrimp is its claws, capable of breaking through the shells of crabs, mollusk shells, and even aquarium glass. Scientists first became interested in this creature at the end of the 20th century, when divers began reporting strange clicks underwater. At first, they thought it was the sound of breaking corals or some kind of machinery at work. But then they noticed that after each click, shell fragments appeared near the burrows of the mantis shrimp. It turned out that these sounds are the result of their lightning-fast strikes. The attack speed reaches 75 feet per second. That's faster than a professional baseball pitch. For comparison, if a human could strike at that speed, their fist would accelerate to 80 miles per hour in a fraction of a second. Spears and hammers. But how is that possible? Why did nature give a tiny shrimp a power that would make a heavyweight boxer envious? The answer lies in its biomechanical structure, a complex system that scientists are still studying with great interest. This little guy doesn't just strike. He skillfully uses the laws of physics, turning his body into a true combat mechanism. The first feature of the mantis shrimp's body is the type of claw. In this species, they come in 2 varieties, spears and hammers. Shrimps with spears pierce soft prey, like fish or shrimp, while those with hammers. True stone crushers break hard shells, crabs, and mollusk shells. Today we will focus on the hammer wielders, as they are renowned for their destructive power. Their claws resemble a mace with a broad, flattened part at the end of a narrow lever. When the shrimp strikes, it compresses the claw like a spring and then rapidly releases it forward. The strike lasts only 3 milliseconds, 300 times faster than you blink. The force of the strike reaches 337 pounds. That's 750 times the weight of the shrimp itself. Such a strike easily breaks to a shell, crab, or shellfish. Oysters with a thickness of 0.4 inches. But here's what shocks even more. In water, such speed is essentially impossible. Water is 100 times denser than air, and any movement in it is slowed down due to resistance. So how does the mantis shrimp defy physics? Micro-explosion. The secret lies in the structure of its claw. Its outer layer is made of chitin, a very strong material that makes up the shells of many arthropods. But chitin alone wouldn't withstand such loads. Underneath it, the shrimp has another layer. Elastic and flexible, like rubber. Together, they work like a composite. The hardness on the outside and elasticity on the inside make the claw indestructible. When the claw strikes, the energy is distributed in such a way that the mantis shrimp's limb doesn't break but springs back, amplifying the blow. But that's not all. A strike of such force creates a micro-explosion in the water, a phenomenon known as cavitation. The water around the claw instantly boils, forming bubbles that immediately burst with tremendous energy. This secondary strike hits the prey even harder than the claw itself. Imagine the shrimp strikes a crab, and a fraction of a second later, the wave from cavitation tears it apart from the inside with incredible heat. Creepy? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. That's exactly why the peacock mantis shrimp is a nightmare for everyone living nearby. Amazing vision. However, the mantis shrimp not only has incredible claws but also unusual vision. Its eyes are extremely complex in terms of structure. If humans have 3 types of color receptors in their eyes, red, green, and blue, then the mantis shrimp has 16. It can see not only the entire spectrum of visible light, but also ultraviolet, and even polarized light, which humans cannot see at all. Each eye of the mantis shrimp is on a movable stalk and can rotate independently of the other. Why does it need such vision? Firstly, for hunting. In the murky waters of the reefs, it spots prey where other predators go blind. Secondly, for communication. Mantis shrimps communicate through color. Their bright spots change shades to signal to their kin. This is my burrow, or go away, or I'll strike. Scientists are still debating how the brain of this little creature processes so much information. After all, it's the size of a pea. However, this pea uses its potential to the fullest. The hunting process. The peacock mantis shrimp is not only a boxing master, but also a hunting master. Its day begins with it sitting in hiding, like a soldier in ambush. Its radar-like eyes scan the reef, searching for prey. As soon as a crab or shrimp comes too close, bam! The strike of the mantis shrimp happens so quickly that the victim doesn't have time to say ouch. The hammer shrimp break open shells and then calmly eat the contents, like a nut from its shell. Those with spears pierce soft prey and drag it into their burrow. But hunting is not just about strength, it's also about strategy. The mantis shrimp knows how to wait. It can sit motionless for hours, blending in with the corals thanks to its bright coloration. Scientists also believe that the bright coloration serves as a warning to underwater predators. I'm dangerous, don't come near. And indeed, few dare to mess with this little guy. Once, researchers observed a shrimp fend off a predatory fish by striking it right on the snout. The fish swam away, stunned and confused. Another hunting trick is the shrimp's accuracy. The strike always hits the target, even in murky water. This is thanks to those very eyes with 16 receptors. In the lab, the shrimp struck a sensor with millimeter precision, even though the target was moving. A true marine sniper. Life in a burrow. But where does the marine creature live? Mike Tyson? The peacock mantis shrimp is a homebody. It digs burrows in soft ground or occupies empty shells, expanding them with strikes from its claws. Its home is a full-fledged fortress. The entrance is narrow so that enemies can't get in, and inside there's a cozy nook where it rests and eats. The length of the burrow usually reaches 12 to 16 inches, and the walls are reinforced with fragments of corals and shells. Sometimes, it repairs the burrow, knocking out extra stones, just like a builder with a hammer. Mantis shrimps are solitary by nature. They do not tolerate neighbors and fiercely defend their territory. If another shrimp comes too close, a duel begins. Both wave their claws, displaying bright spots. Usually, the more cowardly one retreats, but if not, a fight is inevitable. Blows fly at lightning speed, and after the fight, the winner takes the burrow for themselves. Interestingly, the burrows are not only a shelter but also a trap. The shrimp can lure prey by pretending to be asleep, then strike suddenly. Additionally, the shrimp is very clean. It throws food debris outside to avoid attracting parasites. It's a small but smart master of its underwater castle. Evolution. It should be noted that such power in the arthropod did not appear immediately. The peacock mantis shrimp is the result of millions of years of evolution. Its ancestors existed about 200 million years ago, during the Triassic period, when the oceans were teeming with ancient monsters. Back then, the claws were simpler, but they already served effectively for hunting. Over time, they evolved into weapons capable of breaking through the thick shells of marine inhabitants. Scientists have found fossils of ancient mantis shrimps. Their 2-inch claws already resembled modern ones, but were less powerful. Why did evolution choose this path of development for the shrimps? Reefs, jungles where only the strongest survive. Prey became tougher, and the shrimp had to adapt. Their claws are nature's answer to the challenge: break through, or die of hunger. Their bright coloration may have developed as a signal for communication and intimidation. A brilliant brain. Let's return to the structure of the shrimp, as we haven't yet examined one amazing organ, its brain. It's the size of a grain of rice, but it functions like a supercomputer. Scientists are puzzled by how a creature with such a small processor skillfully coordinates strikes, processes information from its complex eyes, and manages not to overload. It turns out that the nervous system of the mantis shrimp is also, essentially, a wonder of nature. The brain is divided into 3 parts. One part is responsible for movement, another for vision, and a third for decision-making. And all of this works in perfect synchronization, like an orchestra conducted by an invisible conductor. The most amazing thing is the speed of signal processing. When the shrimp strikes, its brain manages to calculate the distance, force, and angle of the strike in milliseconds. It's like if you could catch a fly in midair without thinking. Scientists have calculated that nerve impulses in the mantis shrimp are transmitted at speeds of up to 394 feet per second, faster than most animals. For comparison, in humans, the speed is about 164 feet per second. The cancer brain is not just a control panel, but a high-precision guidance system that would be the envy of rocket engineers. A community of vibrant warriors. Although the peacock mantis shrimp is a loner, it sometimes interacts with its kin. And it doesn't always end in a fight. Scientists have observed that the shrimp communicate through complex rituals. Their bright coloration is not just decoration, but a language of signals. For example, red spots on the claws might mean back off. This is mine, while green glints mean I'm not a threat. They wave their claws like flags, performing entire dances in front of their kind. But when it comes to a fight, the spectacle is impressive. The water is filled with the sound of clicks and the hiss of boiling water. Researchers observed a fight between crayfish that lasted 3 minutes. The crayfish took turns striking until one gave up, losing a piece of its shell. After that, the winner continued to feast on the prey, while the loser crawled away to heal its wounds. Surprisingly, fatal outcomes in such fights are rare. It's as if the crayfish know their limits. Could it be an evolutionary trick to avoid exterminating each other? Still, more often than not, interactions between mantis shrimp occur for mating. Males and females find each other through color signals on their bodies. After all the procedures, the female lays up to 30,000 eggs in a burrow, and the male guards her for several days. Then he leaves, and the female raises the offspring on her own. The babies hatch tiny, only about 1/10 of an inch, but already with claws. After a couple of months, they become independent, ready to fight and hunt. Enemies of the mantis shrimp. Even a killing machine like the mantis shrimp is not immune to dangers. Its enemies, large fish, octopuses, and seabirds like herons, which catch the shrimp in shallow waters. The octopus is an especially cunning opponent, as it can grab the shrimp with its tentacles, preventing it from striking. But the shrimp is not used to giving up. One diver saw a mantis shrimp fend off an octopus by piercing its tentacles with its claw. The octopus swam away, leaving a cloud of ink. However, the greatest threat to the shrimp is not birds, fish, or even octopuses. The main destroyer of the amazing mantis shrimp is humans. Divers sometimes catch shrimp for aquariums, not always realizing they are signing a death warrant for their aquarium. In captivity, the shrimp can break glass up to 4.1 inches thick or damage water filtration equipment. The shrimp's strength and coloration are both its protection and its curse. It deters predators but becomes a tempting target for poachers and exotic pet enthusiasts. The reef ecosystem. The peacock mantis shrimp. Not just an inhabitant of the reef, but its regulator. With its strikes, it controls the population of crabs and mollusks, preventing them from reproducing uncontrollably. If it weren't for him, the reefs could become overgrown with shells, displacing corals and fish. Scientists call him an ecosystem engineer. By breaking apart prey, the shrimp leaves debris that small creatures feed on. Worms, shrimp, bacteria. But there is a downside. Its burrows sometimes destroy corals, especially when the shrimp remodels its home. In densely populated reefs, this can harm the ecosystem. In places where there are many mantis shrimp, corals grow less frequently. However, without the shrimp, it would be much harder for the reefs to protect themselves from other pests. An analogy can be drawn here with woodpeckers. Although they sometimes create full-fledged holes in trees, they benefit the trees more than they harm them. The same goes for the shrimp. Another important role of mantis shrimp is in their offspring. Young shrimp often become food for fish, while adults are a rare delicacy for large predators. Thus, they not only take biomass from the animal world but also provide it to other underwater inhabitants. A useful application. Can humans utilize these amazing features of the mantis shrimp? Of course, yes. Its body is a textbook on biomechanics. The claws have inspired scientists to create special impact mechanisms. A few years ago, engineers from California made a prototype of a hammer that mimics the saddle-shaped spring of the shrimp. It strikes 100 times faster than a regular press and doesn't break. The shrimp's armor is a dream for inventors. Lightweight, strong, self-healing. There are already projects for composite panels for airplanes, where chitin is combined with synthetics. And what about the eyes? Their vision with 16 receptors is a treasure for optics. Cameras that can see ultraviolet and polarization are already being tested in robots. Even the shrimp's brain is a discovery for scientific thought. It's tiny but powerful, like a chip in a smartphone. Understanding how the cancer brain works would allow us to create incredibly compact, yet powerful processors that would be able to process information hundreds of times faster than today's processors. Threat of extinction. Unfortunately, the mantis shrimp, a treasure trove of information for the scientific world, is under threat of extinction. Destruction of coral reefs due to human activity, pollution of the world's oceans, climate warming. All of this deprives the shrimp of its home and food. Scientists have noticed that in some regions, its population has sharply declined over the past 20 years. Without reefs, the shrimp loses the ability to exist normally, becoming a victim of hunger and large predators. Lovers of the exotic also contribute their sad share. Divers catch shrimps for their beauty, but in captivity, they rarely survive more than a year. Aquariums broken by claws are only part of the problem. The stress and confinement of a glass box kill the shrimps faster. The climate, changing due to human activity and natural conditions, also affects ocean waters. The acidity of the world's waters is increasing, dissolving the calcium in shells. If this continues, the claws of the shrimp may become brittle due to the environment. This won't happen soon, but in 100 years, such a threat is quite real. Will people be able to preserve the mantis shrimp? Or will it vanish into the history of the animal world, like the dodo, stellar sea cow, and many other unfortunate creatures? The importance of the mantis shrimp. The mantis shrimp has come a long way to become what it is today. Its ancestors were snapping their claws 200 million years ago, when dinosaurs were just beginning to roam the land. The shrimp has survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, mass extinctions, and has continued to dominate the reefs. Its strength, armor, and eyes are not just a random set of useful features, but a refined masterpiece of evolution. Without the mantis shrimp, the ecosystem could collapse like a house of cards. Its burrows provide shelter for small creatures, and the food scraps nourish plankton. This little guy is part of a vast system where every cog is important for maintaining order and balance. A decrease in the mantis shrimp population should be a signal for us. If we lose the reefs, we will lose not only the shrimp but also thousands of species that depend on it. The mantis shrimp is a symbol of the power and fragility of our planet's nature, both vibrant and vulnerable at the same time. Do you think it will still rule the reefs in 100 years? Despite the threat of extinction, the peacock mantis shrimp continues to be a true wonder of nature. Its abilities, body structure, and behavior are astonishing. What impressed you the most about it? Do you believe that the mantis shrimp and humans can coexist peacefully? Write in the comments, give a like, and subscribe to the channel. Many more mysteries of nature await us ahead.